Hey everyone, welcome to today's Velosio viewpoint on Teams and SharePoint and how they work better together. I'm John Darling. I'm one of our Teams specialists here at Velosio, and with me I have Rod Donovan, our SharePoint guru. So today we'll be going through a sales template and approval process in Teams and show you how Teams and SharePoint together with the approval process make it easy to create a sales document, get some approval on it, and also add it to a client team for project management. So
It's all
Rod,
about that single source, John, just and the increase of efficiency.
absolutely. And hopefully after today, you'll understand a bit more about which interface you want to be working in and the importance of the cross-product collaboration between Teams and SharePoint. So Rod, say we have a scenario aptly named a Teams opportunity for a client, and we have a collection of templates stored in our pre-sales folder. To get this process started for a new opportunity, what's a good place to start?
And you've got the skeleton laid out right here with these. You've got a collection of those sales templates. That's our SharePoint bucket, and we're going to talk about this a couple different ways. But SharePoint is the file cabinet for every team, and the team members have the keys to the filing cabinet. So that's the easiest way to think about it. And people get confused of, oh, is it SharePoint? Is it Teams? Is it everything else? Teams is Teams, but when it comes to collecting the artifacts, they are collected within SharePoint itself for those documents. So you can get into it from SharePoint, but it's nice to keep it all within this kind of as much as possible within this Teams interface.
Absolutely, and it always surprises some folks that these are in fact the same documents and even the same site. You'll notice the open in SharePoint link here, so if you prefer to jump into SharePoint or just double check that you're working on the same document, you can always jump over to it from this button here. So yep, Teams and SharePoint, same document.
Getting to that single source scenario where everyone, it's just a iframe and a lens looking into that SharePoint area. Yep.
Absolutely. So for this Teams adoption opportunity, you'll see here we have a Teams channel under our pre-sales team and a folder to kind of help with the organization. And if we have a Teams adoption template here.
Oh, we've got two.
Yep, we got two versions of it. You can open it up, review the template, make sure it's what you're looking for, and then start working on it as an opportunity and start editing it. So do we want to make a copy of this and move it over to the opportunity section, or go ahead and make the changes here?
We start making the changes here, John. We're going to be affecting the template itself so that the next time we come in or somebody else from the team comes in to use it, they're going to have all of our nonsense in here. And we're going to do it once this week. Everyone's going to do it once this week, but there's you don't want to. So the first thing is once you identify that this document, if you back, and go back into the structure itself, you can see that one of those documents is approved and the other one hasn't been approved yet. So it's still out. It's been rejected and working on. So I think they're making changes to that today.
Sounds like it.
As you go ahead there, you have the vertical ellipse next to the approved document. So you can select that document. And then right there, you've got a copy option.
Oh, yep, here it is. Perfect.
And you'll be able to figure this next part out.
And we can use this to navigate just like you would in File Explorer and go back to your list of teams.
And if you were part of 10 teams, they were there. If there were 50 teams in the company, you're only going to get the list here that you've got access to.
Exactly. So it sounds like we want to go ahead and move this one over to opportunities for Fabricam, which is our imaginary client here. Not so imaginary for you folks coming from the Dynamics GP world who are probably used to seeing that demo company every time you open GP. So we can go ahead and copy this template here into the opportunities channel and the Fabricam subfolder. And now that we've established that this is the template we want to work in, this is the opportunity, the file, and the folder we want to work in, we can come in here to Fabricam, to this general Teams adoption file, open it up.
And we can rename this, and make all of our adjustments, go through our process, and tweak all of those bits that need tweaking for this particular one.
Exactly. And it's kind of second nature to us, but notice how we were able to open up this file directly in Teams. You don't have to download it desktop client. You can do all this in Teams without ever having to context switch to another application.
And as you're seeing this, John, I'm going to come into the same document. This is one of those other neat things about the system itself is that you and I are going to be collaborating on this document inside of the FabricCam. And once I open it within my Teams,
you'll be able to see the same thing I am. Oh, there you are. You're admin, so I can tell that you have it open as well.
And if you're down there and
prices, you'll be able to come give these folks a discount if you like.
No, what, are you kidding me?
Add another digit. Yep. Yep, they deserve it.
Yeah, but we can go back and forth on this document and correct it. But you can see that as I'm moving around that we're both interacting on the same document. And this document, is a live document up in the cloud, but we've got it saved in our proper location. And as we're making our changes, I think the technology that is used here for these kind of live active documents is pretty wild.
It is, and think of how many email forwards and attachments this would be if you're doing, local files on your machine. So again, yes, we take this for granted, but this is saving you, multiple emails, multiple, digging for the right attachment on the most recent email because you're able to do this all within Teams.
And all those emails create a email in your inbox and my outbox. That means there's 3 copies of this particular document. That's nonsense. We want to, drive forth that single source. We're putting everyone back into that one document that we want to work in. And now everyone else is, here. All right. So, projected hours. How many hours do you think it is?
Let's call it 20.
20 hours for 10 grand sold.
what a bargain at twice the price for us. So excellent. So
all right. So, and this is also live saving, John. You notice we haven't saved yet. Mm-hmm. So this all being taken care of for us behind the scenes.
Exactly. And so now that this looks good, we can back out of here.
Oh, and you want to change that, rename that to our FabricCam.
Absolutely. So because it copied over, of course, with the template general name, but you can rename it in here. There it is. We open it up again. We should see our changes that we made down at the bottom. Yep, there it is. Perfect. So see, it's saved as we were working on it. No need to remember to click Save As or something like that. So there, that is good to go. So Rod, now that we have our opportunity finalized, as it were, do we want to kind of go through an approval process with this, or what's?
Yep. And there are 2 different ways. There's an approval process built into Teams itself. You've got approvals there on the left-hand side, so you can do it this way. And because these are so quick, we can do them both ways if we want.
Right. Just so you see what the approval dashboard looks like here. This is documents that you're being sent to approve. You can see documents that you've sent out for approval in here. There's also integrations with Adobe Sign and DocuSign, if those are your flavor of choice. But you can also do it in SharePoint, correct?
Yep. And actually, if you go back into that approvals, send me an approval for this through approvals. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to send another one. I think we've got just enough time here to send both of them. So we're going to do a basic request here.
And I'll send that to you just as an example. There we go.
Yep.
And you can't see it, but Rod over on his Teams now received a little ping in the lower right-hand corner. And if you went over to his approvals button, he would see in received a approval that says FabricCam Sal, and he'd be able to jet over to that opportunities folder, take a quick look, come back over.
I could reject this, John, because we forgot to attach the attachment, but that's a file attachment, and that's all right. We're going to see it on the next run anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and hit approve on this one, and that sends you back so that, again, you can see that John's going to get the alert that it's now been approved. And as that's going to come across, if you go back into the file, we'll also do it from SharePoint itself and show you a different way to get your approvals, depending on how you want to use the system.
Excellent.
So now we're inside of SharePoint itself. So we've stepped out of the Teams environment into SharePoint proper. Up in the right-hand corner here, you've got some options on that same scenario. All right, so you've got the automate, and then request sign off. And the sign off is an earlier version of the approvals application that's been built into SharePoint for a very long time, but it's still incredibly effective. So if you wanted to send that to the same one, yep, there you go.
Simple as that. Run flow, and Rod will also get a notification in the approvals app in Teams. And come back over here. There you go. You'll see that was just requested a few minutes ago.
And it actually has the document itself. And I'm going to switch over to share out my screen here, John, for 1 second.
No problem.
So here's this one that John just sent. It actually has the attachment. So now if I go into it, it's driving me back to that same site, to that same location, the one we just worked on. And if we had sent this over to Keith, he'd come in here and say, all right, that's all good. That's all good. I think you guys missed the hour, or nope, all good there. He could just jump back out and say, all good. So now that we've got our pre-sales process done, and I swing back over to our opportunity.
And in there, I think there will be.
Yep. It shows the SharePoint column names. Again, if I hit the SharePoint button, it's going to show us right in SharePoint, the same approval. So now that we've got this document here, and let's just say it's been signed off, and then, you know, the client, of course, is going to sign off on our SOWs without a doubt. Now, if we wanted to take this document, we can move it a copy. Depending on your existing business process, sometimes you want to keep these in the opportunity section, but I still like working off of that single source. So we're going to go ahead and move this one. I'm going to navigate up out of our Fabricam pre-sales channel and into our Fabricam client site and into the projects. And we've got our Teams opportunity already built folder for us, which is great. So now I'm going to move this same document into that location. It's going to leave here. Now that it's been approved. New environment. Something went wrong. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Just a false error. So now that we've taken that from our template through pre-sales opportunity, where you and I banged on it a little bit, and then sent it over for approval, got approval from it, and then we've worked it back in to put it in the project. So now we can let the delivery team know that there's the SOW they've got to start fulfilling.
And with the Fabricam team, a lot of folks only use Teams internally, but Teams, if you don't already know, can have external users added to it. So this Fabricam team can be client-facing along with the SharePoint site. So once the document's been signed and approved, you can collaborate with the Fabricam client users in this team. They can have access to the document as well. And that's when you get beyond just the intra-team collaboration to sort of the outside world collaboration benefits of Teams and SharePoint.
And then we've just alerted everyone in the team. We've got a new post and announcement that we've brought the deal in.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Rod. I think this is a really useful real-world example of how Teams and SharePoint work together for the sales process. But of course, this could be any sort of document, whether it's an engineering design doc, new HR policy document.
It plays for everything. You're right. Yes.
Anything. Yep. Same simple process, kind of endless application. So. And
if we wanted to get fancy, we could even put some automates that do some of those steps for us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Leveraging some of build up a couple of flows that say, all right, once I've approved it, you've approved it, then Keith approved it as the third one and final check, then it gets copied over to the other location and things along those lines. So always good opportunity, always more ways to increase that efficiency.
Absolutely. And it was one application or one interface opening SharePoint with one click. We weren't switching over to our email. We weren't switching over to our other desktop apps. So very, very simple, very easy to learn, and much cleaner than cluttering up your inbox or your downloads folder. So wonderful.
And that collaboration, you're working on the same document at the same time instead of my versions to you, your versions back to me, and one of us is going to merge that.
Those days are
days behind us. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, John. Hey, have a great afternoon.
You too. Thank you, Rob.
See ya.